Welcome everyone. Thank you for joining for today's expert webinar titled Amazon S3 Simple Storage Service. I am Ria from SpringPeople. We are India's largest enterprise training provider. I will be your moderator for today's session. In today's session, we have Mr. Parul Kundra with us, a prominent figure in the world of cloud computing and AWS. With an illustrious career spanning over 15 years, he boasts a remarkable list of qualifications and accomplishments. Mr. Kundra's skill set extends to SQL and PL, SQL, demonstrating his prowess in database management. He is also a proficient problem solver using Python, C, and C++, and has a solid grasp of data structures, showcasing his versatility in the world of programming and technology. Having conducted over 100 AWS corporate training sessions, Mr. Kundra specializes in preparing individuals for certifications such as Solution Architect, Advanced Architect, Cloud Practitioner, and System Operations Associate. His training methods are renowned for their effectiveness. Mr. Parul Kundra will let us know about Introduction to AWS S3, storage classes of S3 along with their cost and use case, S3 versioning and its importance. To all the participants, you can mention your questions in the chat box and it will be answered at the end of the session. So, without further ado, let's start today's session. Now, I would like to invite Mr. Parul Kundra to start the session. Over to you, Parul.
Thank you so much for the introduction. So, am I audible? Is my voice clear?
Yes, it is.
Thank you so much for the confirmation. So, I welcome you all to the webinar. This is my third one, and today we are going to discuss Amazon S3, which is a simple storage service. We'll see what exactly Reha has talked on. So just give me a minute. Yeah. So here the agenda of today will be what exactly S3 is, what are different storage classes we have in Amazon S3, and what are their cost and where we can use them, what are their use cases. We'll also talk on S3 versioning and its importance. What if there is no versioning and what if there is no versioning? So we'll talk on all those things. So this is what it's going to be an agenda. Along with that, I would love to share few questions with you. If you're planning for your certification exam, if you think that S3, so I'll be talking on S3, then I'll be flashing few questions in front of you, and you can put your answers in the poll so that I can see how many of you are getting accordingly. So yes, again, starting with S3 agenda, we have discussed introduction to S3, storage classes, and versioning. So let's start with first of all, we'll talk on Amazon storage type. So if I talk about Amazon storage type, so basically there are three types of storage in Amazon. One is block storage. Another one is object storage. And then we have file storage. So we have block storage, object storage, and file storage. File storage. For block storage, you know that when a memory is divided into equal size of memory chunks called block, and if you know that we have already covered this in my previous webinar, EBS, elastic block storage, is a block storage which are generally used by EC2 instances, that is Elastic Compute Cloud, for running applications. So generally EC2 or servers, virtual server, use EBS storages. While if I talk about, this comes under storage area network, SAN. Now if I want a file need to be shared among different instances which are in a multiple availability zone, so in that case we can go with file storage. For file storage we have EFS, elastic file systems, and we have FSX. So EFS are generally used by Linux based systems, while FSX for Windows. So these are two things. Now we have an important storage structure, that is object storage. Now first question I would like to address here, if you might be having a question in your mind, that what is exactly the object storage. So object storage, if I say that object is nothing but, it's a collection of data along with metadata, that is data about data, metadata, and a key identifier. The composition of three forms an object. So this is what this is said as an object. Now, when I'm storing this object in a storage device, so let's say this is a storage device, and here I'm storing this object. This object could be anything. It could be a structured data, it could be a unstructured data, structured, or it could be a semi-structured data, semi-structured data. So let's talk about structured data. So your tabular data, table form of data, which you generally use in your relational databases and all. Tabular data is your structured data. Unstructured data, which we always deal with every day: audio, video, text, image. So this audio, video, every day we are dealing with on Facebook, WhatsApp, audio, video, text, images. All these comes under your unstructured data, while semi-structured data is your log files. So S3 is quite capable. So what these, so this could be an object, and when we store this object in a storage device, then that storage device is called object storage. Object storage device. And in AWS, object storage device is S3. The course which we are, the agenda which we are going to discuss today, S3. S3 stand for SSS, simple storage service. So service, SERVIC. So let me write it clearly, storage service. So this is what we are going to discuss. So agenda of today's discussion is on object storage. So first of all, I discuss what is object. Object is nothing but a collection of data, metadata, data about data. So if data is any file, then what are the size of file, name of file, and all different component of file, type of file is a metadata, and key, a unique identification of that particular file is called key. So this thing forms an object, and when we store this object into a device, then that device is called object storage device. And in AWS, object storage device is S3. So S3 is a very famous object storage device, which is a simple storage service, which can have all structured data, unstructured data, or semi-structured data. You can store all three type of data while you are creating a data lakes and all. So we'll not go in that, but yes, you can use all those things. Now, yes, coming back to Amazon Simple Storage Service. So Amazon Simple Storage Service, which is Amazon S3, is a durable object storage solution. Durable object storage solution. So this is something which I want to discuss here. What is durable? Durability is something, if you store your data in S3, it gives you 11 nines of durability. Means I'm not getting. If you're not getting, then I must say it's 99.999999 and 999% of durability you get when you store your data. But again, I'm not getting, Parul, what exactly 99? The overall the figure which you are getting is that if you have 1 billion object, which you are storing it for 100 years, then chances of losing your data, chances of losing your object, I should say object, in 100 year is only one object. Only one object. So if you store your 1 billion object for 100 years, so chances of losing your object will be only one. So this, you can imagine how durable the storage is. So forget about it. Once you store your data, you see that yes, my data is highly durable. It gives you 11 nines of durability. 99.9999999% of durability. That is what durable means. Now the question which is coming to your mind is how? How, Parul? How can you say this? How it can give us this much durability? So if I'm in S3, I assume that you already know everything on availability zones and everything. If you don't know, then let me tell you, In AWS, till today, we have 33 regions. In India only, we have two regions. One in India, we have Mumbai, and one in India, we have Hyderabad. Like this, we have four regions in United States: Oregon, North Virginia, California, Ohio. Then we have in Sydney, in Australia, Melbourne, like this, Singapore, Paris, and every region have multiple availability zones. So let's take an example of one region called Mumbai. So Mumbai itself has three availability zones. So AZ, where our data centers are. So now the question is how, Parul, how it can give us 11 nines of durability? Whenever you store your data in Amazon S3, it replicates your data in minimum 3 availability zone. So if one availability zone is down also, you still have your data intact in other availability zone. This is why your data is highly durable. This is why. Now the question is why? How? This is because your data is stored in more than one availability zone. Coming back to the next options that increase agility, Amazon S3 is unlimited in storage. There is no limit, unlimited in storage. If I talk about EBS has a limit of 16,384 GB, or you can say 16 terabyte. But S3 has no limit. It is unlimited in storage. So you can increase, agility can be increased. Reduce cost. This is what our discussion is. So we have multiple storage classes which we can use to reduce our cost. So we have multiple storage classes and we are going to see it. We are going to understand it and we are going to solve questions and strengthen security. This is my device. This is my storage S3. This is my data. I want to store my data and strengthen the security. I will allow who can access my data and who cannot access my data. Whether my data to be public, private, or to be for a particular user. So I'll be encrypting my data also. If somebody, let's say, hacks my bucket, would not be able to read my data. It should not be a plain text data. Apart from writing policy, I'll be writing a policy that who can read my data and who cannot read my data. If somebody breaches the policy and hacks my bucket, so if my data is in plain text format, let's say there is written Parul, so you all can read. I don't want you all to read that data. Even so, I can strengthen the security by encrypting my data. I can encrypt my data when my data is in my S3. So we'll be talking on these factors. Coming to the next slide, whenever you create S3, what actually you create a bucket, S3 bucket. And inside bucket, you store what? Object. And when you store object, you get a proper object URL via which you can access your object. So this URL looks something like this. Now, thing is this, it is showing so much theory. Why, Dr. Kundra, why so much theory? Why don't you show all these things on a console? So let's go to a console and create one S3 bucket. So just allow me, let me take you to a console. So I take you to a console. So this is my Amazon console. Let me write S3. I'm going to check S3. Okay, let me refresh it. So let me enter to my console. This is my AWS account. This is my AWS account. Fine. Where I can see, where you can see that any service which you wanted to go with. I'm in Amazon S3. How you would go with S3? You type here S3. So you click on S3, you will be inside S3. So now I am inside S3 and you can see I have 47 buckets. You can see I have total 47 bucket in my account. But I wanted to create one bucket. So I wanted to create one bucket. So you can see some of Abhishek bucket is public, some bucket Andrew bucket is bucket and object are not public. Now something which you can see that object can be public. Hey, what is all these things and how to create a bucket? Kindly teach us. So when you come to S3, you get one option of creating a bucket. You click on create bucket. When you click on create bucket, now you have to select a region where you wanted to create a bucket. Now, wherever you wanted to create a bucket, you can select a region. So you have multiple regions available with you. You can select, I'm selecting Mumbai. You can select anyone. You give a bucket name. I'm giving a bucket name as Spring People. PEOPLE, Spring People bucket name. Fine. And I'm not going to do anything. I'm simply going down. So just allow me a minute. I'm not doing anything. Simply I'm trying to create a bucket first. I'm able to create a bucket. I can see I am able to create a bucket, which is the name of bucket is Spring People. So just, yeah, Spring People, I created a bucket. Now the question is, Parul, it was very easy to create a bucket. You have not shown us any other options. Fortunately, this name was available. Now, what you are talking about, let me tell you. Let me create one more bucket for you. So let me again create one bucket. Let's say I'm creating a bucket, a very common bucket name. Let's say I'm creating a bucket name as John, John, John bucket. And when I'm trying to create this bucket, let's say whether I'm able to create this bucket or not, I just wanted to show you, I'm getting one error. Now, what is that error? The error is that bucket name already exists. I'm very sure. Yeah, bucket with same name already exists. Now, where? In my account? No. It could be in my account or in entire AWS ecosystem, in entire world. If this bucket is existing, I won't be able to create bucket. Because of this, you're finding it as global over here. Fine. So generally for other services, you find a region, but here you're getting global. Now, this name, if exists, if somebody has already created John bucket, I would not be able to create John bucket. So it's just like a domain or your mail ID. If john@gmail.com is already created, you will not be able to create that. So then what do? You have to make it unique. So let's say John 1. So see, John 1 is already existing. John 1, 2, it is already existing. It's a common name. That's why I took this example. John 1, 2, 3. Again, it is also existing. I won't be able to create it. John 1, 2, 3, 4. Again, it is existing. 5. So fortunately, 5 is not existing. So John 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 is not existing. I will be able to create, but I'm not creating because I've already created Spring People bucket. Now, second question is, can I make a bucket name only JO? So the thing is, no. Please make a very good note of it. Bucket name should be minimum 3 character and 63 character. So this you have to make a. So there are some naming conventions. So bucket name cannot be duplicate. Bucket name cannot be, cannot have capital character. So let's say if I make it JOL, again I would not be. So it has 3 character, but it has uppercase. So bucket name cannot have uppercase character also. Fine. So these things you have to take care of when you are naming a bucket. So bucket should be unique, globally unique. Fine. It's just like a mail ID or domain names. Second, it has some naming conventions, minimum character, maximum character. Now coming to the next point. Now comes ACL. Now what is ACL? Now I'm going to store object in my bucket. So what I wanted, all the object in this bucket are owned by this account, and in its object is specified using only the policies. I want object to be used by this account only, or if I want object to be used by other account, object in this bucket can be owned by other AWS account. This is my account. You can see this is my account. I wanted it to be used by other account, then I'll be selecting ACL enabled. So it's up to you what exactly use case you have. Now see, by default, bucket is private. So blog public access is on. So by default, all public access is blocked. So if you want, you can enable it, make it public. Fine. So let's say I'm making my bucket public. Now I would like to show you one thing. Now there are different options. So versioning, I'm not enabling anything because I have to teach you versioning. So I'm leaving it like that. And I have an encryption. By default, your data is encrypted by any of the 3 options. Fine. So encryption is not included. In next seminar, webinar will be including that. So simply you can click on create bucket and your bucket will be created. So what you can do, so let me create one John bucket. So let me create JOHN 1, 2, 3, 1 like this bucket. So I'm creating one more bucket for you. So no issues. I'm creating one more bucket. So let me click on create bucket. So I accept this because when I'm making a bucket public, I have to accept this and I'm creating a bucket. So simply I created a bucket. So my bucket, you can see in my account, my bucket is created. You can check that along with SpringPeople, John bucket is also created. So John 1231. So even John 12 is in my account only. Fine. So now you read this. John 1231. Object can be public. Some is saying public. Some is saying bucket and object are not public. So the bucket which I have created, John 1231 in Mumbai right now in front of you, here bucket is public, but object are not public. Object can be public. They are not public. By default, they are not public. Bucket is public. So let me click on John bucket. Let me upload any data which I have. Let me add file. So I can add any file, no, anything. So let me add one PNG file. So employee one. So let me click on upload. So I uploaded a data. So my data is uploaded. So this is an object. When you click on object, see, you get a proper object URL, which I was showing you on a PPT. Fine. Now you see, this is a proper object URL. HTTPS John1231 Mumbai Amazon.com employee1.png. If it is inside some folder, then folder and then, but I put it in a bucket itself, so no folder created. So yes, now let me copy the object URL and let me check that whether I'm able to access it or not. So let me press enter. So see, I'm getting access denied. Now the question is this is an object, bucket is public, object is not public. So I have to make it public. So what I'll do, where I'm in Amazon S3, I'm in bucket, in John bucket, under this object, let me go to permissions. Since I have enabled ACL, I'm getting an edit option over here. Let me click on edit and let me make it readable for everyone. So let me check this option and let me save the changes. Now see, I made my object public, single object public. Let me check whether I'm able to access it or not. I'm able to access it. I am simply able to access this object, right? So this is what I'm able to access this. Let me see that if I can share this with you. Do I have any option of sharing this with the participant if they can access it? Let me paste it. If you can see, you can also check it whether you are able to access it or not. So I've shared the link in a chat box because I made my bucket and object, this object, not all object, only this object public. So I'm able to access this from where? From Mumbai. Huh? Now coming back to the presentation. Now you see this presentation, you will understand totally now. Okay. So what I did, I went to Amazon S3. I created one bucket, JOHN1231. There I have uploaded one object. The object was employee one, whatever, employee one .png, and I got a proper URL. So see, the bucket is SpringPeople bucket, right? Or John bucket .s3 amazon.com. Then this is a folder. If any folder you are creating, you can create a folder. So 2020 through 24 courses, whatever you want. This is a prefix, and then the entire thing aws.jpg. Here we have included employee1.png. So this is complete URL I'm getting, and via URL through browser I can access my bucket. Coming back to the next topic, which is very important, very important for your use cases, for your knowledge, for your certification exam, and maximum question when you go for AWS certification exam you get from this topic only. Storage classes of S3 along with their cost and use cases. So let me discuss everything over here itself, and please be with me. You are going to learn something fantastic today. Now let me start. So as I've already discussed, so let me write few points. S3. So S3 is an object storage, and then I told you S3 provides 11 nines of durability. You know that durability. And how it provides you 11 nines of durability? Because when you store your data, it replicate your data in minimum 3 availability zones: AZ1, AZ2, and AZ3 availability zones like this. Okay, then S3 is unlimited in size. Now S3 is unlimited in size, but single object cannot be greater than 5 terabyte. It can have n number of object. It can have unlimited object, but single object which I'm storing in my S3 bucket should not be greater than 5 terabyte. This is the limitation which you have to take care of. So it should not be greater than 5 terabyte. Now coming back to S3 classes. So we'll talk on S3 storage classes. So let's have a discussion on it, and please be with me. You are going to learn something fantastic and understand. So the storage class which I'm writing are starting from their cost, and till the down I'm moving, their cost is decreasing, and also their flexibility, or you can say their frequency of access data is also decreasing. So the first storage class we have is, let me change the color of my pen. So the first storage class which I have is S3 standard. S3 standard. When you store your data in S3 standard, you can retrieve your data. This standard is usually used for frequently accessed data. Frequently access. If you are frequently accessing your data, you store your data in S3 standard, and for retrieval it takes millisecond. In millisecond you get your data back. Now second storage class we have is S3 standard infrequent access, IA. Now the question is infrequent access, Parul? I says yes. Now you have some data which you are not accessing frequently, means you are accessing once in a month. Again, I'm repeating, you are accessing once in a month. So kindly put your data in S3 standard infrequent access. It is half of the cost of S3 standard. But Parul, you have not spoken on the cost of S3 standard. So let me talk. So S3 standard cost you $0.023 per GB per month. $0.023 per GB per month. But if you store your data in S3 standard infrequent access, means your data is accessed once in a month. Fine. Then you can leverage S3 standard infrequent access, and you can store your data $0.125 per GB per month, just half of the cost, but only when your data is accessed infrequently, once in a month. Fine. So let's take an example of movie released in an OTT platform. If a movie is a hit, it will be frequently accessed. So if movie is frequently accessed, then kindly put your data in S3 standard. So here you get storage cost is 0.2023, but you know, after few months, after 45-60 days, saturation comes. So it's your data is infrequently accessed. So kindly go with S3 standard infrequent access. You can get the same storage for $0.0125 per GB per month. Now here also you can retrieve your data in millisecond. Now the third storage class we have is S3 one zone infrequent access. Now, Parul, what is one zone? Now, see, because of that, I told you this. Whenever you store your data in S3, it gives you 11 nines of durability, means 99.999999 and 999% of durability. Now, you say, I don't want that 11 nines of durability. I want to store my data in one zone only. I'm okay with one zone. My data is not critical. So in that case, you can go with S3 one zone infrequent access. Here you can retrieve your data in millisecond, but cost you are going to pay to AWS is $0.01 per GB per month. But yes, make it sure that you are not going to get 11 nines of durability. Once you're okay with it, yes, then you can store your data. Now we are compressing, we are archiving our data. And by archival means I'm compressing my data, and I want low cost storage device. As I told you, the way I'm moving down, my data cost and frequency of access will be reduced. Now I'm moving down, so I wanted to compress I'm archiving my data, but I want low cost storage device. Then you can put your data in S3 Glacier. In S3 Glacier, in S3 Glacier. Hey, Parul, why 3-time Glacier? I said, wait, let me tell you everything. First S3 Glacier is S3 Glacier instant retrieval. Instant retrieval means you are compressing your data, you are archiving your data, but you want your data in millisecond. Please make a note of it. You get various questions in your certification exam and in your company use cases. You are compressing your data, but you want your data in millisecond. But that should be once in a quarter. once in a quarter. If you want your data for a low cost storage device, means it is going to cost you 0.004. Can you imagine? $0.004 per GB per month. So, sir, but you want your data in millisecond. You are compressing, you want your data in millisecond, but make it sure you are wanting your data once in a quarter. If that is the case, then you can. So your use case is, hey, Parul, my use case is that I wanted to compress my data. I want low cost storage device, but yes, I'll be retrieving my data once in a quarter, but make it sure I want my data in millisecond. If that is the case, then go with S3 Glacier instant retrieval. Now you say, Parul, I'm okay with data if I'm getting my data from minutes to hour. If it is taking minutes to hours, say up to 12 hours, I'm okay with it. Then you can store your data in S3 Glacier flexible retrieval. You can store your data in S3 Glacier flexible retrieval, and here you are going to give AWS $0.0036 per GB per month. Now at last you have wow storage class S3 Glacier deep archive. Now you have huge amount of data which you rarely access once in a year, but you cannot delete that data due to compliance. You have to keep that data for 10 year, 20 year, and yes, you cannot. And if it is saying it takes within 48 hours of retrieval, are you okay with it? I'm okay with that. This is only for compliance purpose, audit purpose. If somebody will get a mail, will give a command to AWS, even if it is taking 48 hours, we are okay with it. But we want low cost storage. Can you imagine? $0.00099 per GB per month. Means if you are okay with data storage where your retrieval is once in a year and it is taking a retrieval time of 48 hours, go with S3 Glacier Deep Archive. Now I'm changing color of my pen because I'm going to talk on fantastic storage class, which is S3 Intelligent Tiering. Now S3 intelligent tiering, Parul, why it is intelligent? This is a bucket with some intelligence. I said yes. S3 intelligent tiering is a bucket with brain, bucket with machine learning algorithm. Now, whenever you store your data in S3 intelligent tiering, now first of all, when I should store my data in S3 intelligent, when you don't know how your data will be accessed, when you have unknown access pattern, you really don't know access pattern. You really don't know how your data will be accessed. So kindly put your data in S3 intelligent tiering, and if you go and see the case studies, it has saved millions of dollars of our organizations. How? If you put your data in S3 intelligent tiering, if your data is frequently accessed, it will move your data automatically to S3 standard. If your data is not being accessed for 30 days, it will move your data to S3 standard infrequent access. See, it is saving your cost. If your data is not being accessed for 90 days, it will move your data to S3 Glacier flexible retrieval. If your data is not being accessed for 180 days, so 90 days, 30 days, 180 days, it is going to put your data in S3 Glacier Deep Archive. So this is how intelligent it is. So if your data is not being accessed for 180 days, move your data to S3 Glacier Deep Archive, and it can save your cost. See, if you don't know and you kept your data in S3 standard and data is there for 1 year, but data was very less used, very less retrieved. So what, for a complete 1 year you paid for this amount, and your data is in petabyte. Industry data is in petabyte, exabyte scale. So if it seems you very less, but when you multiply it with petabyte scale of data, you will come to know how large it is. Right? So that is where these storage classes can help you to reduce cost. So when I was talking on reduce cost, I told you I'll talk on storage classes. So this is what I wanted. And the data which I'm giving you right now, you will not get this particular slide in any course like this, because no slide will talk on cost and everything. Now, Parul, is this cost vary on country, region? Yes, this cost is region based. In India, it has a different cost. In United States, it has a different cost, because S3 is S3 has no, not S3, AWS or any cloud have their different tax rates according to different countries. So I am taking example of any of the country. Generally, I took an example of North Virginia. So it is giving you an answer that how much it varies. But yes, pattern will remain same for all countries. Pattern will remain same. Fine. So this is where the storage class. Now recent changes has also been made on S3 when last 2 months back they have added one new storage class, and that storage class is S3 Express. S3 Express one zone. So S3 Express one zone is a storage class where you get your data in single digit millisecond latency. Single digit millisecond latency. So if you want your data from 0 to 9 millisecond, then you can go with S3 Express one zone. So they recently have added for especially for those data which needs single digit millisecond latency. So you can put your data in S3 Express one zone. So one additional storage class has been added. So this is what I have explained you. Now let's see everything. Let's see, if you want you can take a screenshot, because this is something which I'm giving you, you will not get anywhere. So you will get, but you have to do so much of research on documentation on AWS. So let me keep this and let me show you all these things on our bucket, the bucket which we have created. So let me close this. I have uploaded my data in John bucket, and where my data by default goes, it goes to S3 standard. Which storage class? S3 standard. But Parul, I wanted to change a storage class and I wanted to see what storage class you have. So whenever you are uploading something, let's say you are adding any file. So let's say this time adding employee 2. Before you click on upload, here you have a section called properties. When you click on properties, my dear friends, so in properties sections, so you have this storage classes. So let me just put something like this. Yeah. So you can see, so we have S3 standard, which I told you, frequently access data more than once in a month, and you get your data in millisecond. When your accessing pattern is more than once in a month, you put in S3 standard. But when you are putting in S3 standard infrequent access, once in a month, no, in infrequent access, with you get your data in millisecond, but pattern should be once in a month. And yes, availability zone is minimum 3 availability zone, but for one zone infrequent access, it is one availability zone. And you recently added classes S3 Express one zone, where you get single digit millisecond latency. I also talked on intelligent tiering. When you don't know how your data will be accessed, data with changing or unknown access pattern, then you can put your data in intelligent tiering. And if you're putting your data in Glacier instant retrieval, please read this: long-lived archive data accessed once in a quarter with instant retrieval in millisecond. I'm compressing my data, but I want data in millisecond. Then you can go with this storage class. But when you're going with flexible retrieval, then you can get minimum minutes to hour. For retrieval, it may take minutes to hour. You should be ready for that. And yes, and if you're going with the deep archive, then you should be less than once in a year, no? Because you are storing your data and it is in somewhat highly compressed data in storage. They are not very good retrieval storage, they are old storage. So AWS is putting somewhere in old storage, so definitely retrieval will take a time. So these are generally recommended. They are giving you just for 0.0009. So now you wanted to store your data in intelligent infrequent access or intelligent tiering, wherever you wanted to select, you can select it and you can click on upload. When you click on upload, see here you get, when you close this, here you get an option. See, your data you just uploaded is in S3 intelligent tiering. So this is how you can take a selection of it. Now I'm flashing one question in front of you. So this is what I've already discussed with you. So we have, I've already covered all these classes. So S3 standard infrequent, S3 one zone infrequent access, S3 Glacier instant retrieval, S3 Glacier flexible retrieval, S3 Glacier deep archive. I told you these are lowest cost for infrequent access. These are higher cost for frequent access. I also told you intelligent tiering, when data with unknown or changing access pattern. When you don't know how your data will be accessed, you put your data in intelligent tiering. Fine. And now I'm putting one question. You take 1 minute of time and you can put your answers in the chat box. And yes, this is the question from your certification exam. You read it very carefully, and I'm giving you 1 minute of time. Okay, so fine. So okay, I'm putting one more question for you. Yeah, you see this question. So this question I've already given you 1 minute to see and put your answers. Now I'm putting one more question in front of you. You see this question and you answer the question. Option B. Okay. So I'm getting option C, Rishi, for so why only two answers? Yeah, so Rishi and Senthil said B. Okay. Okay. You all can participate. You can read the tagline over here. You can read the tagline. No, unpredictable pattern. This is the tagline here. You get a tagline now. You can go with the taglines. So the tagline will let you know. So unpredictable, when you don't know how your data will be accessed. Thank you so much for your response, Rohini. Then Manidi, Venu, if I'm not wrong, Rishi, Senthil. So thank you so much. Yeah, so these kind of questions, and it's my a very good experience that maximum questions you get from S3. So there are multiple questions, but yes, we cannot cover everything today. We are here for 1 hour only. Now we are going to talk on versioning. So we covered this. We talked on questions. We talked on so many storage classes, their cost, how much it is costing us, and yes, now we'll move to uh, another part called S3 versioning. Now, S3 versioning. So let's have a discussion on S3 versioning. While creating a bucket, we have not enabled S3 versioning. So let's have a discussion on it. So generally, I explain this via layman term, which is my way of explaining the things. So the layman term is something like that. So what happened? A company, there is a person. Okay. So let's say we have Senthil with us today. So Senthil has joined an organization, and Senthil reporting manager is John, and John manager is me. Let's say me. I'm Parul. Fine. So Senthil has joined the organization, while John is a immediate manager or boss of Senthil, and immediate manager of John is me. I'm the manager of John. Now what happened? John gave a task to Senthil that, hey, this is a problem statement. You need to code it in Java. This is a problem statement. You need to code this in a Java. And what you can do, you can store your everyday work on a bucket, and the name of company is SpringPeople. So SpringPeople bucket is created, and in front of you I've created. And what John said to Senthil, John said, I'm giving you this problem statement. You code this problem statement in Java, and you name it as senthil.txt file or whatever, and you can put it in a bucket, SpringPeople bucket. So Senthil started working on his problem statement given to him by John. So he coded on day one. He created one notepad file, and let's say he added 100 lines of code, and he named it as senthil.txt. And what happened? This is his Monday work, and he's uploaded the file on SpringPeople bucket. So now this bucket has one file called senthil.txt. Next day on Tuesday, again he appended the same file with 100 more lines. Now he is uploading the file, but senthil.txt is still there. senthil.txt is there. So will he get any error, or it will be simply he'll be able to upload it? It means you have noticed that if in a folder you have one file, let's say employee one, and you again store employee one, you get an error that, hey, this name already exists. Do you want to replace it or not? So the question comes here is that will he get any error, or he can simply upload the file without any error? The answer of this question is he will simply upload the file without any error, but the old file will be replaced with new. So the old file was having 100 lines of code. On Tuesday, when he'll upload the same file, senthil.txt, on SpringPeople bucket, the new file will have 200 lines of code. So on Wednesday, he again added few more lines. Thursday, he added few more lines. Friday was the last day. He added few more lines. Let's say on a complete Monday to Friday, he added 800 lines of code. So what will be the status on Friday? 800 lines of code. On Friday, what happened? Me came to John. This is me who came to John and said, hey, John. John said, yes, Parul. I said, how is Senthil doing? So John said, yes, he's doing well. So I said, can you show me what exactly he's doing? So John said, I gave him one problem statement to code it in Java. Every day he's writing some code and uploading in a file, in a bucket, a SpringPeople bucket. So I said, John, can you show me? So John clicked on SpringPeople bucket and he opened one file, and that file was having 800 lines of code. 800 lines of code. I asked that from John, this is his today's work. John said, no, Parul, it is his 5-day work. From Monday to Friday, he did completed 800 lines of code. I said, can you please show me his Monday work? I wanted to see his progress, what he did on Monday, what he did on Tuesday. I wanted to, just compare his everyday progress. Now, in this case, John was what? Speechless. John was speechless. John said, no, Parul, I have only one file. So I said, John, how will I be able to see? How will I be able to evaluate? How will I be able to compare that how much progress he is doing on everyday basis? I asked him a question. Have you not enabled? Have you not enabled versioning? Have you not enabled versioning? John said, yes, Parul. So, we know the famous poem Johnny Johnny. So yes, John said, yes, I have not enabled. I said, this is what you did a mistake. Because of this, every day when he is uploading a file, it is replacing a file. And we did a same mistake in our bucket also. Let's go and check what mistake we did. So let me keep all these things. Let me go to a bucket. So this is my bucket. Which bucket? I'm in Amazon S3 in bucket John1231, where I have uploaded employee1.png on March 7, 2024 at 4:51:26. If I again upload employee1.png, will I get any error? Let's check. Let me click on upload. Let me click on add file. And let me add employee1 again. And let me click on upload. Am I getting any error? No, it's saying uploaded successfully. No error like a file already exists and nothing, no error. I was able to upload. But what happened, let me close this. What happened? My God. This new file, which I uploaded at 5:19, has replaced the old file, which I uploaded at 4:51. So I cannot find my old file. But if I wanted to have my old file, the old version, I will not get that. So in this case, so what happened? With S3, now let me teach you one more thing. S3, you can use S3 for what? You can use S3 for, for what? For static websites. You can use S3 for hosting static website. So, and your website has different versions. If versions are not saved, then what will happen? You will not get any versions. So in this case, what I'll do, I'll enable the versioning. Now I'll go to John bucket in properties section. See, I told you that even in S3, you can use S3 for static website hosting. This is something fantastic with S3. There are so much to discuss on. S3 itself is a very big topic. Fine. So we try to discuss. So if I talk about bucket versioning, which is disabled, of which bucket? John bucket. Let me enable it. I clicked on add it. And let me click on enable. So before I click on enabling a bucket, I have no button over here. You can see where I'm scrolling my mouse. You can see I have no button over here. Let me click on property section. Let me click on versioning edit. Let me enable the versioning and let me save the changes. Now, if I go back to my objects, I can see one bucket over here, button over here, show versions. When I click on show versions, I can see that version ID of the both object is null. Why? Because this object were uploaded before enabling the version. So when I enabled the version, this object were already there. Because of that, they have no version ID. Again, I'm repeating why I'm getting version ID null over here, because these two objects were already there before enabling of versions of S3. Because of that, I'm getting version ID as null. But now, if I upload a same object employee one, I will have two employee one. Fine. So let me click on upload. Let me add a file. Let me add a same file, employee one. So let me check employee one. Let me again click on upload. Uploaded successfully. Let me close this. Now you have two files. No, Parul, we have only one file. No. You click on versions. When you click on versions, you get a new employee. This is the old file with no versions. This is a new file with new version. So which I uploaded on 7th March. Fine, I'm having a proper version ID. So I'm having two employee one. If you upload another employee, it will have another version. So number of same files, if you keep on uploading, you will get versions. So let me click on upload. So you have three employee one files now. So uploaded successfully. Let me close this. Let me click on show version. So you can see employee one, employee one, two, employee one, three. So one which has no version, but second and third have their unique versions IDs. But yes, these are all paid services. So take very good care of it when you are enabling this. So these are all paid services. So S3 cost you for different things, which I'll be telling you right now after this. But yes, make a note of it. These are all paid services. Fine. Okay. Now versioning has one more advantage, which I would love to tell you. Even though not included, but I would love to tell you that it has more advantage. So let me click on Epic Pen. Where is my pen? I cannot see my pen. Yeah, I can see my pen now. See, versioning has one more advantage. Versioning, versioning, you know what it does? It protects files from accidental deletion. So what? Deletion. So if accidentally you delete one file, so it can protect you. So you wanted to see, let me show you. I selected employee one file, I clicked on delete, and let me write delete, DELETE, and let me delete the object. So when I deleted the object, so successfully deleted the object. So it has successfully deleted the object. Let me click on close. I have no employee one file. But let me tell you what happened behind the scene. One delete marker is created, very important for your certification exam and your knowledge as well. When you go to show versions, what happened? One delete marker is created. So this delete marker will remain there. Now how will I get my file back? Now you delete marker. If you delete marker, you will get your file back. Now you click on delete and you click on right here, permanently delete, copy, and you paste it here. And what do? You delete the object, you delete the delete marker, successfully deleted the object. Let me close this. So let me go back and show you. I got my file back. So delete marker protect you from accidental deletions. Now also versioning is very important. Now versioning is very important because you have multiple versions, so you can create life cycle policies and all, which in later point in time we'll have a webinar again. So we'll discuss on some other options. There are multiple things which we can discuss on S3, not only one. There are multiple management life cycle. No, so when you click on create life cycle, I'm not discussing here. Means what you want it like intelligent hearing intelligently moves your data. But if you, because you don't know how your data will be accessed, but you know how your data will be accessed, so you can go with lifecycle policies. So when you go with lifecycle policies, I'm not going with lifecycle policies. See, here you have an option, move current version of object between storage classes. So here the question comes, what is current version? So if you don't know versioning, how will you do life cycle? Because of that, I made you ready for our next webinar. You should understand what is versioning. Fine. Move non-current version. So versioning, we have already made you clear that, because when we go with next topic, you should have an understanding of all those things. So we are not going to talk here on all those things. So delete marker is a kind of questions you get in your certification exams on delete markers and all. Fine. Now coming back to versioning, now you see this. So we have a beautiful slide on it. So we have a bucket with different version IDs. Now if we delete a object, so what happened, we get our delete marker over there, and what if we want, we can get our object back by deleting a delete marker. Now okay, so this is what I tried my level best to talk on S3 and S3 different classes on S3, and how S3 is, what are different objects and all. So hi Reha, are you there? So we discussed on this question, and let me just have a few discussion now. So see, to comply with industry regulation, so I would like to talk something on this question. To comply with industry regulation, a healthcare organization want to keep their large volume of lab records in some durable, secure, lowest cost AWS storage for long period. See, about 5 years. My God, the data will be rarely accessed once per quarter. This is something you need to understand, but require immediate retrieval millisecond. It will be accessed once in a quarter, but require immediate. You are a solution architect in your organization, and organization want your suggestions to select a suitable storage class. So see, use case. Now if you want your data in millisecond, definitely you will not go with deep archive, because it takes around 48 hours. Within 48 hours, I will not go with flexible retrieval, because it takes around minutes to hour. My requirement is what? Millisecond. So I'll go with instant retrieval, or I'll go with S3 standard infrequent access or instant retrieval. So I'm having two options now. They both can give me data in millisecond. But now I have to check for lowest cost, because data is accessed once in quarter. If it is a once in a quarter, 100%, this is the fantastic class which can help me for, for saving my cost. If it is once per month, per month, then you go with this, because retrieval charges are also there. So as I said, as I wanted to talk on S3, so S3 not only cost you for storage, S3 does not cost you only for storage. S3 cost you for retrieval also. So your retrieval pattern should be very good. If you put your data in S3 Glacier instant retrieval, which is recommending you to retrieve your data once in a quarter, but what you are doing? You are retrieving 40 times in a quarter, 100 times in a quarter. Then let me tell you, your storage cost will be less, but your retrieval cost will be so much that you are paying more than S3 standard. So be very careful while using, properties. That's why I told you about use cases. Storage, this costs you for retrieval, it costs you for versioning, it costs you for management, So management like life cycle policies and all you are doing. So there are different cross-region replications, CRR. You are replicating from one region to another region. So there are multiple factors for which S3 cost you. So now over to Reha or anyone from SpringPeople. Yep.
Hello.
Yep.
Thank you, Parul, for your invaluable insights of technology. I'm sure it was certainly a very informative session for all of you. If you guys are interested in learning more about various Amazon S3, do check out our super discounted batches of virtual instructor LED trainings on our website springpeople.com. These VILT trainings are leveraged online from the comforts of your home and flexible as per your schedule and time and location. If you do not find any suitable batches, we'd be happy to discuss and schedule private batches for you. If you don't have time to join live online, then do try out our affordable self-paced course. For more information, do write to us at training@springpeople.com or call on our number displayed on the current slide. Now we will open the forum to answer questions that we have received during the session. So let's get our questions answered. Over to you, Parul.
Okay. So thank you, Reha. So if you have any questions, so you can post your questions. Anything which you wanted to ask, anything which is coming to your mind, you're free to ask. Okay, fine. So Reha, completed from my side. They have no questions. Yep. Over to you, Reha.
Okay, thank you everyone. We appreciate you being here. We shall be sending out the webinar recording to all you participants soon. I request you to kindly provide feedback before signing off, which will help us improve the quality of our future events. Thanks again for joining us today. Signing off on behalf of Team Spring People. Hope to see you again for our next expert webinar. Bye. Thank you.